Should you say it often? Should you say it often?
Sık sık söylemeli mi?
Should he write? Should he write?
Yazmalı mı?
Can I lock it? Can I lock it?
Kilitleyebilir mi?
May not cause. May not cause.
Neden olmayabilir?
Would sink. Sunk.
Batırdı.
Her stepdaughter was a maid. Her stepdaughter was a maid.
Üvey kızı hizmetçiydi.
Is my colleague a technician? Is my colleague a technician?
Meslektaşım teknisyen mi?
You can't do chemistry now. You are now a chemistry scan.
Şimdi kimya taramasısın.
After 2 years I am a night watchman. After 2 years I am a night watchman.
2 yıl sonra gece bekçisiyim.
Won't you prove it every year? Can't you prove it every year?
Her yıl kanıtlayamayacak mısın?
Wasn't I a judge 2 years ago? 2 years ago the judge wasn't pregnant?
2 yıl önce yargıç hamile değil mi?
Aren't we players soon? Aren't we close players?
Yakın oyuncu değil miyiz?
After 4 hours, there should be no sociologist. After 4 hours, a sociologist should be taken.
4 saat sonra sosyolog alınması gerekir.
Is your stepbrother a ranger? Is your stepbrother a ranger?
Üvey kardeşin korucu mu?
His nephews were contractors. His nephews were contractors.
Yeğenleri müteahhitti.
Isn't it usually necessary to be a negotiator? Isn't it usually necessary to be a negotiator?
Genellikle müzakereci olması gerekmez mi?
Are his siblings rulers? Are his siblings rulers?
Kardeşleri yönetici mi?
Can they be lifeguards? Can they be lifeguards?
Can kurtaran olabilirler mi?
I can be a travel agent at sunrise. I can be a travel agent at sunrise.
Gün doğarken seyahat acentesi olabilirim.
Truck driver after 4 nights? Truck driver after 4 nights?
4 akşam sonra kamyon şoförü mü?
It won't block after 3 seconds. It won't block after 3 seconds.
3 saniye sonra blok yapmayacak.
Should they be fed? Should they be fed?
Beslenmeliler mi?
His grandmother was a naturalist. His grandmother was a naturalist.
Büyükannesi doğa bilimciydi.
We were not employed 4 months ago. We were not employed 4 months ago.
4 ay önce çalıştırılmadık.
Can't he be a porter at noon? Can't he be a porter at noon?
Öğle vakti kapıcı olamaz mı?
Can't they fire fighter jets at dusk? Can't they fire fighter jets at dusk?
Alacakaranlıkta savaş uçağı ateşleyemezler mi?
We will clean up in 5 years. We will clean up in 5 years.
5 yıl sonra temizleyeceğiz.
Your grandma is a golfer. Grandma golfer.
Büyükanne golfçu.
You didn't cut 10 years. You didn't cut the year.
Yılı kesmedin.
His brother was a translator. Brother was the translator.
Kardeş tercümandı.
Sometimes it wasn't hate. Sometimes it wasn't hate.
Bazen nefret değildi.
Will he be an air traffic controller? Will he be an air traffic controller?
Hava trafik kontrolörü mü olacak?
We wouldn't load at dusk. We wouldn't load at dusk.
Alacakaranlıkta yükleme yapmazdık.
They may not be fishermen after a year. They may not be fishermen after a year.
1 yıl sonra balıkçı olamayabilirler.
Sometimes a urologist. Sometimes a urologist.
Bazen ürolog olur.
You can survive. You can survive.
Hayatta kalabilirsin.
Our nephew is an ironer. Our nephew is an ironer.
Yeğenimiz ütücü.
We will be industrialists soon. I will come closer to the industrialist.
Yakın sanayici geleceğim.
Was her brother-in-law the janitor? Brother-in-law go to the concierge?
Kayınbiraderi kapıcı gitmek.
Haven't you been cooking before? Do you eat before?
Daha önce yemek yiyor musun?
5 years later, I'm a judge. 5 years later, I'm a judge.
5 yıl sonra hakimim.
Was your nephew a speaker? Nephew speaking?
Yeğenin konuşması.
Is your stepmother a golfer? Is your stepmother a golfer?
Üvey annen golfçü mü?
Rolled over. Rolled over.
Yuvarlandı.
Could you improve one night earlier? Can you evolve for one night?
Bir gece boyunca gelişebilir misiniz?
His grandfather is an astronomer. His grandfather is astronomy.
Onun dedesi astronomidir.
Aren't we players soon? Aren't we close players?
Yakın oyuncu değil miyiz?
Do we count? Are we evaluating?
Değerlendirme miyiz?
Does it invest? Does it invest?
Yatırım yapar mı?
He won't be doing his internship right away. He won't be doing his internship right away.
Hemen staj yapmayacak.
Was your half-sister a researcher? Your half-sister's investigator?
Üvey kardeşin araştırmacısı.
Wasn't he an alchemist 5 years ago? 5 years ago alchemist not common?
5 yıl önce simyacı yaygın değil mi?
His grandfather was a bounty hunter. His grandfather was a bounty hunter.
Büyük babası kelle avcısıydı.
It's not an investment every year. It's not an investment every year.
Her yıl yatırım değil.
Can't he suppress? Can't he suppress?
Bastıramaz mı?
He may not be a proxy after 2 centuries. He may not be a proxy after 2 centuries.
2 asır sonra vekil olmayabilir.
Can you rest in the afternoon? Can you rest in the afternoon?
Öğlen dinlenebilir mi?
Can we organize? Can we organize?
Organize edebilir miyiz?
He was previously an accountant at 3 a.m. He was previously an accountant at 3 a.m.
Daha önce gece yarısı 3'te muhasebeciydi.
Shouldn't it be supported after 1 week? Shouldn't there be support after 1 week?
Bir hafta sonra destek olması gerekmiyor mu?
She couldn't cry every month. She couldn't cry.
Onu ağlayamazdı.
Can we help? Can we help?
Yardımcı olabilir miyiz?
Was your aunt a rower? Your aunt rower belt?
Teyzen kürekçi kuşağı.
Will we not kill? Will we not kill?
Öldürmeyecek miyiz?
Am I not an announcer soon? Am I not an announcer soon?
Yakında spiker değil miyim?
I can't take it out. I can take it out.
Çıkarabilirim.
Grandson's cashier. Grandson's cashier.
Torunun kasiyeri.
Haven't I been trading for 10 years? Haven't I been trading for 10 years?
10 yıl ticaret yapmıyor muyum?
Wouldn't you be a civil engineer in 2 days? Can't you go to a civil engineer in 2 days?
2 gün sonra inşaat mühendisi gitmeniz olmaz mı?
Can you meet? Can you meet?
Tanışabilir mi?
You would exercise every day. You exercised every day.
Her gün egzersiz yaptın.
He's not the daily announcer. He's not the daily announcer.
O günlük spiker değil.
Aren't we directly at 5 a.m.? Not directly at 5 a.m.?
Gece yarısı 5'te doğrudan değil mi?
What does it usually cost? What does it usually cost?
O genellikle maliyet nedir?
It's a deal. It's a deal.
Bu bir anlaşma.
Translator 2 minutes ago. Translator 2 minutes ago.
2 dakika önce tercüman.
His stepson was an undertaker. His stepson was an undertaker.
Üvey oğlu cenazeciydi.
His half-brother is an operator. His half-brother is an operator.
Üvey erkek kardeşi operatördür.
Would dive earlier. Would dive earlier.
Daha önce dalacaktı.
Will they not play? Will they not play?
Oynamayacaklar mı?
He wasn't the chef every year. Was not the chief.
Yıl şefi değildi.
Were your grandchildren servants? Do your grandchildren carry the butler?
Torunlarınız uşak taşımak.
Isn't it launderer then? Isn't it launderer then?
Daha sonra aklayıcı değil mi?
I was spilling often. I would shed often.
Sık sık dökülecektim.
Is your sister a notary? Your sister's note?
Kız kardeşin notu mu?
You promised. You promised.
Söz verdin.
Do we have to do chemistry at dawn? Do we have to do chemistry at dawn?
Şafakta kimya yapmak zorunda mıyız?
We'll print every year. The year will subdue it.
Onu yıl bastıracak.
We can take it out. We have to take it out.
Çıkarmalıyız.
Is her grandmother an acrobat? Is her grandmother an acrobat?
Büyükannesi akrobat mı?
They may not be on guard after 3 hours. Unexpected things can happen after 3 hours.
3 saat sonra beklenmeyenler olabilir.
Won't I be retiring soon? Won't I be retiring soon?
Yakında emekli olmayacak mıyım?
Is my colleague a technician? Is my colleague a technician?
Meslektaşım teknisyen mi?
Will it work at 4 p.m.? Will it work at 4 p.m.?
Öğleden sonra 4'te mi çalışacak?
You will not blow at noon. You won't be at noon.
Öğle vakti olmayacaksın.
It was not the place. It was not the place.
O yer değildi.
Do I impose 2 weeks? Do I impose 2 weeks?
2 hafta empoze ediyor muyum?
Will not ignore. Will not ignore.
Göz ardı etmeyecektir.
May I not include? Can I include?
İçerebilir miyim?
Can't you be a referee in 2 weeks? Can't you be a referee in 2 weeks?
2 hafta sonra hakem olamaz mısınız?
Can't we read next year? Can't we read next year?
Gelecek yıl okumaz mıyız?
Are you organized? Misarrange.
Yanlış düzenlemek.
Should I be a blogger after 5 days? Should I be a blogger after 5 days?
5 gün sonra blogger olmalı mı?
Your grandma is a golfer. Grandma golfer.
Büyükanne golfçu.
Should we get it now? Should we get it now?
Hemen almalı mıyız?
Should not referee every year. Should not referee every year.
Her yıl hakemlik yapmamalıdır.
Daughter operator. Daughter operator.
Kızı operatör.
Must play. Must play.
Oynaması gerekir.
Was our stepson a pie player? Is our stepson pie player general?
Üvey oğlumuz boru döşemeyicisi genel mi?
After 5 nights, he can be a contractor. After 5 nights, he can be a contractor.
5 gece sonra müteahhit olabilir.
Didn't you set a monthly limit? Not experiencing monthly restrictions?
Aylık kısıtlamaları yaşamadığınız mı?
Can she become a hairdresser later? Could it be a hairdresser later?
Daha sonra kuaför mü olabilir?
Will I finalize? Will I finalize?
Sonuçlandırır mıyım?
Should I go to forensics after 3 years? Should I go to forensics after 3 years?
3 yıl sonra adli tıpa gitmeli miyim?
You would burn. You would burn.
Sen yanardın.
You shouldn't do pottery next year. You shouldn't do pottery next year.
Gelecek yıl çömlekçilik yapmamalısın.
Wasn't he an alchemist 5 years ago? 5 years ago alchemist not common?
5 yıl önce simyacı yaygın değil mi?
His half-brothers are inventors. He has many half-brothers.
Üvey erkek kardeşleri çoktur.
Insists. Insists.
Israr ediyor.
Will you work? Will you work?
Çalışacak mısın?
I should not create. I should not create.
Yaratmamalıyım.
I will behave. I will behave.
Davranacağım.
Was your wife a waitress? Wife waiters?
Karın garsonları mı?
Wouldn't we usually be technicians? Usually not a technician?
Genellikle teknisyen olmaz mı?
Then it won't include 2 in the morning. Then it won't include 2 in the morning.
Daha sonra sabah 2 içermeyecek.
Shouldn't you be paired after a day? Shouldn't it be a day later?
Bir gün sonra olması gerekmez mi?
We don't burn. We are burning.
Yakıyoruz.
Will they finish in 4 years? Will they finish in 4 years?
4 yıl sonra mı bitirecekler?
Was going to set it up last year. Was going to set it up last year.
Geçen yıl ayarlayacaktı.
Didn't he say? Didn't he say?
Söylemedi mi?
Will I be a proxy in 2 hours? Will I be a proxy in 2 hours?
2 saat sonra vekil olur muyum?
Sometimes it may not. Sometimes it may not.
Bazen korumayabilir.
I wasn't an everyday psychologist. I wasn't an everyday psychologist.
Her gün psikolog değildim.
Was her husband a chemist? Husband chemist secrecy?
Kocası kimyager gizliliği.
I shoot at sunrise. My attention at sunrise.
Gün doğarken dikkatim.
They are not created soon. They are not created soon.
Yakında yaratılmazlar.
Didn't we teach? Didn't we teach?
Öğretmedik mi?
Will we shepherd often? Will we shepherd often?
Sık sık çobanlık yapacak mıyız?
After 5 weekends, they were going to play the lead role. After 5 weekends, they were going to play the lead role.
5 hafta sonu sonra başrol oynayacaklardı.
Did you measure? Did you measure?
Ölçülü müydün?
Can they insist right away? Can they insist right away?
Hemen ısrar edebilirler mi?
Is your neighbor a cameraman? Is your neighbor a cameraman?
Komşunuz kameraman mı?
Your grandmother is a washerwoman. Grandma washerwoman.
Büyükanne çamaşırcı.
You can file a lawsuit 4 months in advance. You can file a lawsuit 4 months in advance.
4 ay öncesinden dava açabilirsiniz.
They should remember. They should remember.
Hatırlamalıdırlar.
Do I get engaged often? Do I get engaged often?
Sık sık nişan alır mıyım?
Can he become a urologist after 2 years? Can he become a urologist after 2 years?
2 yıl sonra ürolog olabilir mi?
His son is a marketer. His son is a marketer.
Oğlu pazarlamacıdır.
We don't talk. We don't talk.
Konuşmuyoruz.
He didn't say. He didn't say.
O söylemedi.
Was your stepmother a concierge? Your stepmother go to the concierge?
Üvey annen kapıcı gitmek.
They rarely became psychiatrists. People could become psychiatrists.
İnsanlar psikiyatrist olabiliyorlardı.
His nephew is a blacksmith. His nephew is a blacksmith.
Yeğeni demircidir.
Was her stepdaughter a cook? Is her stepdaughter a cook?
Üvey kızı aşçı mı?
Do I tempt? Do I tempt? We weren't analysts for 10 years. We weren't analysts for years.
Yıl analist değildik.
It should not be sent after 1 year. Should be sent after 1 year.
1 yıl sonra göndermeli.
Not live at 5 p.m. Not alive after 5 births.
5 doğumdan sonra canlı değil.
They would not ignore. They would not ignore.
Göz yummazlardı.
Are their grandchildren chemists? Are their grandchildren chemists?
Torunları kimyager mi?
They were not organized last year. They were not organized last year.
Geçen sene organize olamadılar.
Could he be a pathologist in the twilight? Could he be a pathologist in the twilight?
Alacakaranlıkta patolog olabilir mi?
Haven't you done your internship now? Can't you do your internship now?
Şimdi staj yapamadın mı?
You haven't been a driver for 2 weeks. He hasn't been a driver for 2 weeks.
2 haftadır şoför değildi.
Did you care a minute ago? 1 minute ago, do you care?
1 dakika önce umurunda mı?
His aunts are judges. His aunts are judges.
Teyzeleri yargıçtır.
Does it work every month? Does it work every month?
Her ay idare eder mi?
Could send a weekend earlier. Could send a weekend earlier.
Daha önce bir hafta sonu gönderebilirdi.
Did they collect? Did they collect?
Topladılar mı?
Weekly consultant. Weekly consultant.
Haftalık danışmandır.
Will I derive? Can I reproduce?
Türetebilecek miyim?
Are their grandchildren announcers? Are his grandchildren spikers?
Torunları smaçör mü?
His half-brother is a sailor. His half-brother is a sailor.
Üvey erkek kardeşi denizcidir.
5 years later, I'm a judge. 5 years later, I'm a judge.
5 yıl sonra hakimim.
I am working. I am working.
Çalışıyorum.
It should last. It should last.
Sürmesi gerekir.
Aren't we going to be playwrights at sunrise? Aren't we going to be playwrights at sunrise?
Gün doğarken oyun yazarı olmayacak mıyız?
I can't take a step. I can't take a step.
Adım atamıyorum.
Didn't he throw? Didn't he throw?
Atmadı mı?
Should they tile every 2 weeks? Should they tile every 2 weeks?
2 haftada bir kiremit atmalılar mı?
They would examine. They would examine.
İnceleyeceklerdi.
We can't believe it. We can't believe it.
İnanamayız.
I don't ask for 2 afternoons. I don't ask after 2 weeks.
2 hafta sonra sormuyorum.
Is your half-brother a chemist? Is your half-brother a chemist?
Üvey kardeşin kimyager mi?
I shouldn't change. I have to change.
Değişmeliyim.
Isn't it a hairdresser next year? Isn't it a hairdresser next year?
Seneye kuaför değil mi?
Your stepfather is an analyst. Your stepfather is an analyst.
Üvey baban analist.
Always understandable. Always understandable.
Her zaman anlaşılır.
Can't he complete? Can't he complete?
Tamamlayamaz mı?
They did not rise at 5 p.m. the previous evening. They did not rise at 5 p.m. the previous evening.
Önceki akşam 5'te yükselmediler.
Our relatives are founders. Our relatives are founders.
Akrabalarımız kurucudur.
Can I grow old? Is it livable?
Yaşanabilir mi?
He could run at dusk. He could run in the twilight.
Alacakaranlıkta koşabilirdi.
Aren't we going to sing in 2 days? Aren't we going to sing in 2 days?
2 gün sonra şarkı söylemeyecek miyiz?
Your grandchildren were organizers. Your grandchildren were the organization.
Torunlarınız organizasyondu.
You can't do chemistry now. You are now a chemistry scan.
Şimdi kimya taramasısın.
Will they not be besieging? Will they not be besieging?
Kuşatmayacaklar mı?
His aunts are sociologist. His aunts are sociologist.
Teyzeleri sosyolog.
Are their children managers? Are their children managers?
Çocukları yönetici mi?